Today we are driving the 2025 Ford Mustang Dark Horse with a manual transmission, but as always let me give you a brief tour of the car before I get it out on the road. The key fob is traditional for the Ford lineup, but if you get the automatic model you can get remote start and you can also remotely rev it up from the key. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the exterior design. The front end is very aggressive with a large black top grille, functional ventilation at the bottom, and this large front splitter. You also get some pretty cool graphics on the hood of the Dark Horse models. With the dynamic handling package, you can also get a larger front splitter as well as a larger rear wing. The headlights are fully LED and look quite nice, and you also have marker lights on the front and rear fenders. This Mustang Dark Horse has 19-inch split-spoke alloy wheels and has Pirelli P0 tires and large Brembo brakes. There is a Dark Horse logo on the front fender, and you also have this big side skirt at the bottom that juts out quite a bit. As far as the mirrors are concerned, they are going to be blacked out and they will have heating and blind spot monitoring. Taking a step back to look at the side profile, nothing really has changed for the Mustang as far as this view is concerned, and you can see there is a gentle slope to the roof. There isn't really anything different for the back wheels, but I feel like they could have put the Dark Horse logo instead of the prancing horse on the center caps. Moving around to the back, the Mustang has always had this iconic design and that really hasn't changed for this new model. I really like the way the Mustang looks from the back. With the dynamic handling package, you will get a larger wing, but on this model we have a plastic diffuser with the reverse plate in the middle as well as quad exhaust. To open the trunk, there's a little button under here, and the trunk lid is kind of heavy so it is hard to open up. Inside the trunk you'll find 13.5 cubic feet of space, which is honestly not bad. You can also fold down the rear seats, which is unusual for a sports car, but it will expand your availability of cargo space. But now let's check out the interior. First I want to talk about the rear seats, and I will say that the legroom is sufficient for me at 5'10", but the headroom was a little bit lacking. I feel like smaller children should be just fine back there. The seats themselves were made of leather and suede, and they were pretty well padded and comfortable overall. There weren't any amenities besides an armrest and a window, but I feel like it could be worse, especially considering that this is a sports car that is not very large. I really like the animations when you first open the door, and let's go ahead and fire up this Mustang Dark Horse. The noise this 5-liter V8 makes when you first start it up is really something to behold. Taking a look at the main infotainment system, right after you start it up, it does lag quite a bit, but otherwise it is relatively responsive. You also get built-in navigation, wireless Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Mustang does have Ford's latest software, and the resolution for this display is just amazing. There is also the split-screen view to view things like your fuel economy or your trip information. Moving down here, you will find a wireless phone charger, as well as this blue accented shift knob. You can pull this up and go all the way over and up for reverse. Just keep that in mind, you will have to pull up on that little thing. And there is a relatively high resolution backup camera, but no 360 view. I also don't appreciate how much plastic and fake carbon fiber there is in this cabin. This parking brake is electronic by the way, so to release it you're just going to push down. And the storage in this car is actually pretty good. You get a decent sized center console, 2 cup holders, a wireless phone charger, and you also have this nice carbon fiber piece with Mustang Dark Horse branding on the passenger side. The climate controls are going to be all in the screen for the 2025 Ford Mustang. You will have pretty simple controls overall, and you have quick access buttons right down at the bottom. With the Recaro bucket seats, however, you do not get heated or ventilated seats. You can also push the Mustang button and you can change the exhaust mode, or you can change other things like the chassis or the steering heft. Alright, and now let's take a look at the gauge cluster before we take this Mustang Dark Horse out on the road. The resolution for this display is just amazing, and you can customize what you see with the buttons on the right of the steering wheel. You have a few different widgets you can scroll through, like your tire pressure or your trip information, and you have your tachometer on the left and your speedometer on the right. But I am so ready to get this Mustang out on the road, so let's go ahead and wrap up this brief tour and take this for a drive. Alright, we are driving the 2025 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. This does have a manual transmission, and I feel like for most car enthusiasts, this is going to be the way to go. If you don't know how to drive manual, the 10-speed automatic is still an amazing transmission. It's very quick and it's very responsive, but if you want to have the most fun out of your Mustang, definitely go for the Tremec 6-speed manual. But let's go ahead and talk about the powertrain really quick. This Mustang is powered by a 5-liter V8, making 500 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. This is the most powerful out of the street-legal Mustang lineup. This is of course mated to a 6-speed manual transmission, and the EPA got 14 miles per gallon in the city, 22 on the highway, and 18 combined. Alright, let's talk daily drivability in the Ford Mustang. First of all, the exhaust note is pretty loud and aggressive. You can put it in quiet mode and that will make it less aggressive, but it is still not going to be quiet. This is after all a 5-liter V8. You also have normal mode, which is still kind of loud, sport mode, and track mode. Track mode is the most aggressive, and that is what we have it in right now. But I need to play you a clip of what it sounds like starting up in normal mode. Yes, that sounds absolutely amazing. It can be a bit much for your neighbors who might still be resting their eyes, but that is why quiet mode exists. You can really have fun with this exhaust out on the road. The powertrain is very responsive and it is pretty smooth overall. The throttle response is kind of jumpy. The car always feels like it's wanting to go fast or is always ready to go. And for some people, they might really like that, but if you just woke up and you're just driving to work early in the morning or late at night, it can be a bit much. So just remember to always take it easy on the throttle if you don't want to go fast, because this car is always ready to go fast and always ready to win a competition at a stoplight. If you are somebody that really likes to have fun in the rain with your car, this car can definitely deliver that. You have 500 horsepower to the rear wheels, and this car is always ready to do a donut or do a little drift. If you don't want to do that all the time, just take it easy on the throttle when it is slippery outside, because this car could spin out if you aren't careful. As far as the brakes are concerned, we have some pretty big Brembo brakes on this Mustang Dark Horse. The brake pedal feel isn't too grabby, and the brake pedal is easy to modulate. That means that you have a good sense of how much power you need from the brakes, and they aren't overly grabby or overly touchy. But that is going to wrap up the first part of our city drive in the Ford Mustang. Overall, the Mustang is a great city car. You have plenty of power and you can have plenty of fun at traffic lights. Just be sure not to go too crazy at traffic lights when it is rainy outside, because that could get you in some serious trouble. But now we are going to see how the Mustang performs on the highway. Getting up to speed should be no problem at all, because the Mustang has no shortage of power, especially on this Dark Horse model. For the curvy entrance ramps, the Mustang's handling is amazing, and it can be even better with a dynamic handling package. As we are picking up speed here, let's go ahead and talk about the wind noise. There actually isn't as much wind noise as I was expecting, especially considering that this is the most aggressive version of the Mustang. Usually with the most aggressive version of a car, you might lose a little bit of sound insulation, but I don't think that was the case. This car is still plenty fast and you don't get a ton of wind noise on the highway. In Gear 6, at around 70 miles per hour, we are sitting at 2000 RPM, which is a little bit higher than I would have liked. That is probably why you don't get the best fuel economy out of this car, but really, nobody with a Mustang is going to get good fuel economy. There is no driver's assistance technologies besides cruise control in this Mustang, because this is, after all, a manual transmission vehicle. In the automatic model, you will get adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and all of the other goodies, but for now, cruise control is all that you get because this is a manual. You will have to sacrifice a few things for the manual transmission, but for car enthusiasts, I think they're going to be worth it. If you don't care as much for the fun, like on track, you might want to get the automatic transmission, because you can get a lot of different things and you can relax a little bit more. You can just be driving and sipping your coffee and you won't have to worry about when to shift. That's just one example of how the automatic can be better on the daily. Overall, the Mustang is a pretty good highway cruiser. There isn't a lot of wind noise, the ride quality isn't terrible, and of course you have ample passing power. But there is so much more to this car than just ample passing power and a good 0 to 60 time. This car does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, which is amazing, but you should definitely take it out on the track or on a canyon road every chance you get. You will not be disappointed with how it performs. With the dynamic handling package, you will get stiffer chassis, so if you are really serious about tracking this car or taking it on canyon roads very often, you should definitely swing for that package. It might not be so nice on the daily because it is a little bit stiffer for handling, but that is going to make the ride quality a lot worse. But you will definitely notice the difference when you are taking it out on the track or a fun curvy road. Definitely take this out on the track as much as you can, or at the very least, take the long way home from work, bring it out on the weekends, and make sure you take this car to its limits. Just not in the rain though, because that might not be such a good idea. When it isn't rainy though, these Pirelli P0 tires offer so much grip and you can really push this car to the limits with these tires. Pirelli P0s are just amazing tires. You can do so much with them, and if you don't like them for some reason, of course you can always change them out. But you need to remember that Pirelli P0s are summer tires and summer tires only. They are not going to do so well in the rain or the snow, so just keep that in mind. As far as the interior is concerned, this actually isn't as nice as I thought it would be for $68,000. The driving dynamics definitely do deliver for that price tag, but the interior not so much. There is a lot of plasticky faux carbon fiber by the vents on the door panel, and while there is a lot of real carbon fiber, they kind of clash and they really don't look nice together. There is also a lot of rubberized materials and hard plastic, so for $70,000 Ford, give us at least a decent interior with nice materials. Now let's see about the acceleration test. So even getting up to about 3,000 RPM, I could already feel the rear wheel spinning. That is how aggressive this car is and how eager it is to move. You do really have to be careful when you are driving this car in the rain. But the acceleration was pretty impressive. Like I mentioned earlier, 0 to 60 comes in around 4 seconds, which is not a bad time at all. But we are nearing the end of our test drive in the 2025 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. Overall, the Mustang is a pretty impressive car out on the road. You have plenty of power, you can always have fun, and the wood noise and ride quality weren't as bad as I was expecting. The exhaust note is just glorious, and the 6-speed manual transmission is an amazing transmission for enthusiasts that want to have fun. The exterior design is great, but unfortunately the interior isn't as nice as I would expect for $70,000. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.